All right, I got to be honest with everyone. Did not think I was going live tonight. No idea I was going live tonight. But when preseason basketball begins and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood and Cam Reddish and basically all these other important guys are not playing, you know what? I got to go live. All right. That means I got to go live. I appreciate you guys tuning in. The Hoops Talk post game show. That's what we're going to call this bad boy. Still not 100% sure how I'm going to do post game because I'm also doing the Monday through Friday now at 8 a.m. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Let's talk some Lakers basketball. I know a lot of my people on here and on this channel usually joined my channel because of the post game show. So what do you think? I'm going to abandon you in the post game show? I thought about that. Not going to lie. I thought about that because I was like, I'm going to do the morning show. No, we got a lot to get into, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. So let's talk some Los Angeles Lakers basketball. All right, we got a chance to see our first preseason game. Damn, are these games so difficult to take much out of because of, obviously, we know why, because a lot of these players are not playing, and because it's very simple. On top of that, it's the fact that it's preseason basketball. So you got a lot of key players that are not in the game, number one. And then number two, a lot of these guys aren't really going to try at this stage of the season. However, with all that being said, I still think that there's some important things to talk about. And at least for me, I still think there's some things that we could take away from the game. So a couple things. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up what we're going to do in the post game show tonight. By the way, I appreciate you guys hanging out in a preseason game. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to spend some time. I think there are specific players that we can talk about that are important, that in preseason, it is important to see how some of these players play. So guys like Max Christie, guys like Dalton Knecht, I have curiosity about. Jaylen Hood-Schifino, I do. Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent, I really actually don't have that much interest in because I think Gabe Vincent's going to be fine. It's just more for the fact because the guy, obviously wasn't healthy in the past, or at least last year he wasn't healthy. So we're going to spend some time on some of those individual players, and then I'll look at the comments as well, and get a chance to take a look at the comments as well. Do you guys see the hat? You guys remember this hat? It's old school right here. It's old school. I bring out the fedora. I think I brought the fedora out twice. I think when the Lakers won an NBA championship in 2020, I brought the fedora out. And then preseason game number 1 this year, I brought the fedora out. You guys can see how important all this stuff is. You guys see how important this stuff is. Okay, let's get started here. Lakers lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let me pop up one thing here. I had it. I don't currently have it. It's okay. The show's only live, Al. Couple things just to kind of point out right out the gate. So Lakers lose to the Timberwolves 124-107. By the way, on the postgame show, it's going to be more about talking. I'm not going to have a ton of bells and whistles. I do have Access SportsNet on, and I do want to try to chime in when JJ Redick talks for the first time. I want to play some of that because I have some curiosity to hear what JJ Redick's going to say for the first time. But Lakers lose a game, 124-107. Listen, it's not a clean game, and you're not expecting it to be a clean game. When you have 21 turnovers, if this is the regular season, we're all going to be sitting here bitching and complaining about the game. So that's kind of what you do expect out of preseason basketball. But 21 turnovers for the Lakers, points off of those turnovers, 29. That's obviously a pretty ugly stat. You don't want to see that. Minnesota outshot the Lakers from the three-point line. They hit what'd they hit? How many threes did they hit? They hit 15 threes. Lakers hit 10. So Lakers shot around 30%, 31% or so from the free throw line. Assists, I like that. 28 assists for the Lakers, 24 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's a good stat to have there. I mentioned the turnovers. I really don't think there's much else to point out from a team perspective. Look, basketball like this is going to be sloppy. At one point, the Lakers were down 22 points. They had one lead in this game. It was by 2. So it's not like this is, a perfect game or a beautiful game or anything along those lines, but that's okay. I don't think the world's going to end when it comes to that. I do think that there is going to come a time when all these players are there, and it's all the key players that are there. There's certain things, obviously, the Lakers will clean up, and I think they will. I don't think it's that big of a deal of losing this game. Starting lineup, right out the gate for the Lakers, I thought it was cool to see Max Christie. Let's do this. Let's talk about Max Christie here real quick. I'm going to kind of focus on Max Christie first. I see Spectrum in the background here talking about Max as well. 11 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 block shots. I'll throw this out to Laker fans that are out there. By the way, it feels good to do a post-game show. It feels good to get the season back. Even though I'm not fully in Laker mode right now because there's so many other sports going on. But it feels good to be hanging out with you guys and, obviously being here and talking some Lakers basketball. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Max Christie first, okay? Max Christie, I'm going to ask Laker fans out there, what are you expecting from Max Christie this year? What are you expecting? What are your expectations on him? He's going to be coming into his third year in the NBA. He really hasn't had that many opportunities so far this season. I feel like I'm hearing his name a lot, and it sounds like he's going to get his opportunities this year. And I mentioned tonight what he was able to do. So he started for the Lakers, played 34 minutes, 5 of 9 from the field. Listen, don't expect this. I mean, obviously he's not going to be starting for the Lake Show. A lot of those minutes, if it's backcourt minutes, Austin Reeves is there, D'Angelo Russell is there, Gabe Vincent is there. But I hope Max Christie is not too far behind. I hope he's going to get opportunities. He finished with I like his stats because this wasn't just, hey, the guy only scored 11 points, cool. 5 of 9 from the field, great. You shot over 50%. Really, where he struggled was from the 3-point line. I think all of his misses actually came from the 3-point line. He was 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, but still had 7 rebounds. I like that. Still had 2 block shots, had 1 steal. I like that. Let me give you my expectations for Max Christie, and then I'll read a couple of your guys' comments on Max Christie specifically. Max Christie, I will say this on Max. I will say for him, I think it's going to be important for him to find ways just to contribute, period. I don't care how he does it. If there's going to be times that the Lakers just say, we need you to lock down on a defender, go lock down on the defender. We need you to stop somebody on the other side and at least make it difficult for them. One of these guards in the NBA, cool. Go make that your role and go do that. I don't really personally care about Max Christie being a player that we're going to look at once the season starts and depend on him. I don't think that's realistic, but I think he could be advantageous to the Lakers roster. I like him on the defensive side. I like his size. I like his speed. I like that he's young. Those are characteristics that I think are great for a player like that, especially at that age. Offensively, just be comfortable. As comfortable as he could be offensively. If you're going to take a 3, take it because you feel like you're going to make it, and take it in rhythm and make sure that it's a good shot. If you're going to take the ball to the basket, try to go up strong and get to the free throw line. Little things like that, I think offensively would be important for him. So at least for me, that's kind of how I look at Max Christie and his role with the Lakers. Okay, let me read a couple of these comments on Max Christie, and then we'll get into Dalton Knecht, because this is basically what preseason basketball is. Preseason basketball, simply put, is watching players that you think might get opportunities during the season. How do they look in preseason play? And that's what players like Dalton Knecht, obviously Max Christie, players like that are the ones. Jaylen Hood-Schifino is a good one to watch in preseason. That's what I want to see in these in first couple of games. All right, let's a little 3-piece combo. So typically I jab, come in like this, and then I go uppercut. If that's what you were looking for. You want a 3-piece combo? I got your 3-piece combo. All right, let's read a couple on Max Christie. Senzo, averaging 10 to 15 points a game. I'd be on the lower scale of that. I mean, listen, if you got 10 points a game from Max Christie this year, sign me up. I'm feeling it. I like it. I feel really, really good about that. Let me get another one here. Where is Sliwa? Who is this Fedora man? Bro, listen, it's preseason game number 1. What do you want me to come in here with? Do you know how important preseason game number 1 is? Come on now. All right, let's keep going here. I'm looking at Max Christie specifically. Max has a huge opportunity to become a solid role player. It's up to him. Um, yeah, I don't disagree with that. Max can play both ends, doesn't make any mistakes. He is dependable. I think there's actually a lot of people that are going to look at Max Christie as a contributor this year. I really do believe that. I think they're going to believe that he can contribute this year, and that's obviously the hope from everybody. Let me read one more here on Max Christie. Do you think Max can become a lockdown defender this season? I think it's so hard for young players to become locked down in anything this early. I mean, unless you're one of the greats, you walk into the league and um, I don't know. Think of some of these young players, Anthony Edwards. Think of Devin Booker. I know these aren't necessarily defensive players, but there's certain people that can come into the league and they make an impact right away. I don't think he'll be a lockdown defender this year, but I think he could be a good defender this year, a valuable defender this year. I think that's going to be important. All right, let's kind of switch gears a little bit here. So I want to talk about a couple of the scores here. Let me actually just kind of share my screen here. Why don't you guys get in here? Get in here with me. Let's take a look at this together. Where is the stats, the individual stats? I got them right here. Everyone just calm down and relax for a quick second. Okay, this is what I got here. So on the Lakers side of things, I mentioned Max Christie and what his stat line was. I'm not going to really talk too much about Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell because we know who they are and we know that they're going to contribute. And they're probably going to contribute similar to this: 16 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Austin Reeves is a solid player. D'Angelo Russell is a solid player. He had 14 points. But let me come down here because I think a player we're all curious about is a player like Dalton Knecht. So here's a rookie for the Los Angeles Lakers. They obviously drafted him. What they get him at? 16, 17. I think it was 17. Dalton Knecht is something that the Lakers don't typically have or have not typically had over the last couple of years. And I'm talking about a lockdown, not a lockdown, but a pure shooter, a sniper. Somebody that can come out there and actually contribute on a night in, night out basis from the perimeter. I don't know how much opportunity Dalton Knecht is going to get, but if Dalton Knecht is showing up like he did tonight and throwing in, obviously looking at that, looking at what he's able to do, 7 of 13 from the field in just 25 minutes of play. 2 of 7 from the three-point line. You want to see more for him there. But he has 16 points. Now, listen, he had 5 turnovers. He was minus 13 in the plus-minus. I mean, it's not like the guy was gold for the Lakers tonight. But just seeing a dude who can put up buckets as a rookie, that's impressive. Is this the Minnesota Timberwolves team that's going to be there down the road? No, it's not. So I don't want to pretend like it is because I know we all know that. But the fact that he gets to see the ball go into the basket. And anytime you could do that and you could be a player, saw 3, what was it, late in the third quarter? I'm watching it on Spectrum right now. They're showing a couple of his highlights. But anytime you could see a player do that at that young of an age, that's a positive sign. So how much are the Lakers going to use Dalton Knecht this year? I got no idea. How much opportunity he's going to get? I have no idea. But anytime I think you could see a player who's this young and has confidence and can hit shots, that's a positive characteristic to have. And here's another point. I mean, if I'm being honest here too, it's not like he's coming in at age 19, right? 22 years old is I think what he is. I don't know when he turns 23, but I know when he got drafted, he was 22. That part is that's unique. All right, couple of your comments here. Knecht also shoots with confidence, unlike a lot of rookies, 100%. I mean, there's players that have been in the league. Let me give you an example. This is not a good example over his career because this guy has shot with confidence. Spencer Dinwiddie came with the Lakers last year in the buyout market. Spencer Dinwiddie, a dude who's been in the league for a long time, you could tell he was in his own head, and that guy had no confidence with the Lakers. Every time he took a shot, I'm like, you could just tell in his body language that shot is not going in. So I do think there's something about, somebody that young, a rookie, who's got the ability to just have some confidence. That's a good night for him. Again, you don't want the 5 turnovers. You want to find a way to you certainly want to find a way to make sure that he's put himself in a position where he's not, the 3-point shooting wasn't efficient. Turnovers were there. Okay, you'll clean up that part of his game. But I love the fact, they got him to basically try to be a scorer and to hit shots. That's phenomenal. And if that can happen more frequently, that'd be amazing. Okay, let me cut in here real quick. I want to listen to JJ Redick here for a quick second. So this is courtesy of Spectrum SportsNet. Let me just grab this real quick so we can take a quick listen here. Take a listen to JJ Redick, his first presser as a Laker.
Their physicality, and look, we were had a little bit of a deficit. They're a big team. They have big defenders. Garza's he's a monster. Tonight, with how we opted to do the rotations in the first half, we oftentimes had a small on him, and he really hurt us. Having said that, I think there was a lot of good stuff that we did. I told our guys before the game, 3 things I'm going to judge you on and how we are going to measure this game. Our organization, our talk, and our level of compete. And I thought the third one, we had that at a really high level. The other 2, we got to get better. I think schematically, defensively, we can do some things better. This was not a game plan game for us. So there was some stuff that, frankly, in 3 days of practice in a walkthrough shoot around, you're just not going to be able to cover. But overall, I think our guys played with the right intent. I thought offensively, we really moved the basketball well at times, and we got off to a slow start there. And, sometimes that can hurt your defense, but yeah, there's a lot of good things we can take away from this game.
Individually, some of the young guys seemed like they had a really good game. You had talked about seeing Max Christie over the summer, JHS, like Dalton, but to zero in on Max, what did you like about him when you first got in the gym, and what did you see tonight that reflected that?
Max is an old soul. He's wise and he's mature, and he takes this very seriously. And I really appreciate that about him. So it's not a surprise to me that, in a game like this, that, he plays a lot of minutes. He doesn't hang his head. He just keeps competing. He's going to be very valuable for us this year. You sort of look at your team, and in games like this, like you see like a guy like him or a guy like Austin, just their level of compete at all times. And I've seen it in practice and workouts for the last 2 months. It's always there, and I just appreciate that about Max.
All right, that's I'm gonna stop right there. I just wanted to play a little bit of JJ Redick and kind of get the first chance to take a listen to him as the new head coach of the Lakers. So it's going to be his first opportunity to talk. It's actually a good idea to kind of incorporate that. I got to see a couple people here saying that's a good way of doing the kind of adding that in for a post game. So I'll try to do that. So a couple things we've talked about so far. One thing we talked about was Max Christie and what his potential is going to be for the Lakers this year. And it's important to kind of see him in preseason because I think it's going to help. And I actually heard Stu and Billy Mack talking about that. There's certain players it's important to have on during the preseason or to watch during the preseason. Dalton Knecht, clearly that was the case as well. Jaylen Hood-Schifino, to be honest with you, what can we really take from Jaylen Hood-Schifino last year? Not much. I got no idea what this dude's going to be in the NBA. I'm not that optimistic that he's going to be a player that can really contribute for the Lakers, but he did have 6 assists. Give that man that credit. on 8 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. I'll take that. But again, how much run is he really going to get? How much opportunity is he really going to get? And is he a player that looks like, hey, in 2 to 3 years, watch out for Jaylen Hood-Schifino? I don't think so. I think there were players that were picked right after Jaylen Hood-Schifino that clearly are having contributions in the NBA. And I'm not the most optimistic person when it comes to what Jaylen Hood-Schifino can be, but let me give the man his credit tonight. 6 assists in the NBA, couple of rebounds as well, 8 points. That's a good stat line for Jaylen Hood-Schifino. So I was glad to see that as well. Let me see here. JHS carries himself with some nonchalant attitude that D'Lo has, but without any of the talent. Could I be honest with you? I hate that kind of style of basketball where I'm with you. I mean, there's a lot of times I watch D'Angelo Russell. I'm like, bro, can you speed up a little bit? But that's kind of how he plays the game. I don't think he can speed up. There are other players that will hustle like crazy and do whatever else they do. And that's the way they contribute to a team. But there's a little bit of that of Hood-Schifino. You can't have that, I don't think. I think D'Lo, it's more just that's kind of his style. D'Lo sometimes walks into a three-pointer completely slow motion. If you ever played basketball before and you played in pickup games, there were guys that were going 3.5 miles per hour, yet they found a way to get it done and put the ball in the hoop. That's kind of what he is. Okay, I had some other notes here. Guys, listen, I take notes. I had some notes here that I put on here. Who's the other person here I wanted to talk about? I think it was Gabe Vincent. 11 points for him, 4 or 6 from the field. I just want to see the dude healthy. I do think Gabe Vincent's going to help the Lakers this year. This morning, I was doing my morning show. For those who don't know, by the way, I have no idea if everybody knows this or they don't. I'm no longer at 710 ESPN. I'm 100% now independent, solely on YouTube. So I got a lot of work to do. And if you're on here and did not know that, only thing I'm asking right now from people is just to subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to put a lot of attention towards this channel, and I'm going to go back to kind of really just kind of enjoying the process of obviously putting up content on the channel. So, anyways, what I was going to say there, what I was talking about this morning is Gabe Vincent is the type of player. Maybe I was talking about it earlier this week. Gabe Vincent is the type of player that when you look at this Lakers team, I always hear people bring up, well, we didn't have Gabe Vincent, we have Jared Vanderbilt last year. Those are 2 very important pieces. I believe they are 2 important pieces. Don't forget, when the Lakers went out and got Gabe Vincent, Miami had just got to the NBA Finals. They lost to Denver. Gabe Vincent was an absolute stud. They gave him a 3-year, $33 million deal. Clearly, the Lakers were investing in Gabe Vincent and thought he could be something for the Lakers. So keep that in mind, because the Lakers need Gabe Vincent. They need him to be that tough, gritty, three-point shooter, smart, high IQ basketball player, can close out games for you, is fearless. They need Gabe Vincent. So, I don't really care about what Gabe Vincent's doing in a preseason game, because it's not like the guy's a rookie like some of these other names that I mentioned, but it's good to just see him in the lineup, because we really haven't got a chance to see this guy all that much. Okay, let me get to some comments here. My goal tonight on this post-game show, preseason game number 1, I mean, shit just got serious, guys. Preseason just started. We're already 0-1. I mean, at what point do we start asking the question about J.J. Redick's future? Do I have to be the one to bring it up? I mean, I'm shocked on these comments right now. There are not more people that are wondering what is going on with J.J. Redick. No, I'm just kidding. No, but what I was going to say more than anything else is I think, obviously for preseason starting, it just kind of gives you a taste of obviously what the season is right around the corner and everything else. I do got a couple things I want to talk about with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I want to see if there's some Want to see if there are some comments here that I could incorporate. 20 turnovers, 31% from three was root. Yeah, that's that. I got into that in the beginning. Yeah, that's preseason basketball in a nutshell. I think you're going to always get things like that. Let's get another one here from Hughes. Was rooting for Jaylen Hood. He does some good things, but doesn't do anything great. Yeah, I just also didn't see him enough. Like, what do I gauge him off of? It's not like I could look back and say, like Max Christie, I can say, hey, I've seen some moments from this guy, probably not enough of them, but I've seen some moments where I'm like, okay, hey, there's the huge upside. But, let's put it this way. Who's going to get more playing time this year? You think Jaylen Hood-Schifino or Dalton Knecht? I think Dalton Knecht probably gets more playing time. And these two dudes were basically drafted at the same exact time, but just separated by a year. So I think, in my opinion, it will probably be Dalton Knecht. Let's see a couple more here. It's preseason. Get 5 games in, and they are under 500. JJ will be getting blasted. It's funny. That's the one piece for that's the one piece for him, for JJ Redick, and I'll keep saying this because it's going to be tough to really know if JJ Redick's, if the Lakers, as an example, let's say the Lakers found a way, let's just say the Lakers found a way to get the 6th or 7th seed again, and let's say they were out in the first round of the playoffs. Does that mean JJ Redick is a bad coach? No, I think it just means that that's the team that the Lakers have. And basically, this has been where the Lakers have been these last couple of years, as far as results have gone. So it's going to be weird kind of assessing JJ Redick this year, because I don't think it's going to be your regular assessment that you typically have when it comes to head coaches. JJ Redick is walking into a situation where the expectations from Laker fans are always, and the organization is, you have to win. But the talent that's out there, do you have a team that's good enough to win? Let me ask you guys a quick question, because I'm curious to get people's thoughts on this as well. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves better without Karl-Anthony Towns? They got JJ Redick. They got Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. And they also got, I think, a 2025 conditional pick. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves better are they better without Karl-Anthony Towns, or do you think they're going to take a step back this year because they don't have Cat? My initial reaction, I was looking at this. If you said who won the trade just today for the short term, I think the Knicks won the trade for the short term. Lakers, by the way, are going to start the season against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're going to face them 4 times this year. They're in the Western Conference, so it's kind of important to give our opinion on what we think of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the Knicks won it short term. Here's why Karl-Anthony Towns got traded. We all kind of have heard this before. We all have talked about it. What is it called? The apron, right? Everybody in the NBA is dealing with this. They're trying to deal with it. They're trying to figure it out. And Karl-Anthony Towns, from a financial perspective, it was, I guess, common knowledge that he was eventually going to have to get traded. I think the New York Knicks 100% got better with Karl-Anthony Towns. I was looking at their starting lineup. And I know Dante DiVincenzo was a stud for them this past postseason. He was an absolute stud. But here's the Knicks starting 5 this upcoming year. They go Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be their starting 5. I think they got Precious Atua. Who else have they got on the bench? They got a couple other guys. Mitchell Robinson is another player they have coming off the bench. They got a couple other dudes. That sounds like a pretty damn good starting 5 in the Eastern Conference. The Minnesota Timberwolves still have a good team too, really good team. Julius Randle, I think, is a good player. I don't know how much Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert scare me as a 1-2 punch as your bigs. But obviously Anthony Edwards on this team. They got a lot of really nice role players that are part of the squad as well. Mike Conley's a great veteran. Dante DiVincenzo probably comes off the bench and is a huge contributor. Jaden McDaniels is on this team. The team's going to be really good, but Cat's one of the best big men in the NBA, and he just walked into the New York Knicks rotation, and they really need a big man. So I'll read some of the comments of what you guys think, but I feel like definitely the Knicks got better. All right, let's see what we got here. I don't think the Timberwolves are worse, but Randall can be a bit of a pain, so it depends on how he gels with the team and coach. If he is good to go, they are fine. I have the Knicks winning the championship. Okay, so you feel pretty good about that. I got Howard here that says Knicks starting 5 sounds strong. Listen, that's starting 5 again. Jalen Brunson was an absolute star and a stud. Josh Hart, there's no team in the NBA that doesn't want a player like Josh Hart on their team. OG Anunoby was a stud in Toronto, and I think he's going to shine with the Knicks. Bridges, we used to all watch him in Phoenix. He's a really, really, really good two-way role player. And then Karl Anthony Towns. That's a damn good starting 5. Knicks got what they needed, simply put. Good way to put it. Still top 3 seed. Tatum and Brown have fun scoring against OG and Bridges. Yeah, maybe, part of that too is exactly to go after those 2 players. Okay, I said I was going to go a half hour. I'm hitting a half hour right now. I guess my final thoughts for the first preseason game: Lakers lose to the Timberwolves 124-107. Really, really good to see a lot of these other players get some PT. Guys like Max Christie, guys like Dalton Knecht, like I mentioned. It's great to see those 2 players get opportunities. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, those guys are going to do whatever they do. Gabe Vincent, 4-6 from the field. The only player I really didn't mention, because I don't think there's much to mention about, I know the crowd, every time he got the ball, they were cheering to see Bronny shoot or to see Bronny score. Bronny went 1-6 from the field. He had 2 points. Did have 3 block shots. That's pretty damn impressive. Had a nice defensive play, and then he swung it in the corner. I forget maybe it was Rui that hit a 3. I just don't think there's much to talk about with Bronny, because I don't think Bronny's going to be, the season's not going to start, and all of a sudden Bronny's going to be all over the place. Let LeBron have their moment where they play together for a possession, a 2, a quarter, whatever you want to call it. Then get back to business. Lakers, obviously, I know a lot of Laker fans, what they care about is trying to win. All right, Laker fans, appreciate you guys hanging out after the preseason game number 1. I do not plan on doing a post-game show on Sunday. Big games coming up this weekend. For those that have been hanging out this week, I spent a lot of time on my show talking about the Dodgers and the Padres series. Obviously, I'm from San Diego, so a big Padres fan. Already nervous about the weekend, but I'm going to be watching those games. Yes, I'll still watch the Lakers preseason game, but I also got my show 8 a.m. in the morning, Monday through Friday, that I'm going to be doing now on YouTube. So it's called The Sliwa Show. Definitely going to put up a lot of basketball Lakers content around that, so please keep an eye out for that. Sammy Long will be back tomorrow. I'm proud of this kid. He's hustling. He's working hard. He's doing preview videos for the channel, previewing every game that the Lakers got coming up. So he did a preview video yesterday. You guys were nice enough to comment on there, give him some tips, all that stuff. He's good. He likes what he's doing. He's very passionate about Lakers basketball, and he's going to put out a video tomorrow previewing the Lakers preseason game number 2. So keep an eye out for that. I appreciate you guys hanging out on this Friday. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Hope you guys have a nice weekend, and we will get back with you guys soon. Thank you, Lake fans. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of your night.